5 decades after, Bruce Lee is still inspiring people to train and maximize their potential. And personally, I needed that inspiration, as recently I became plagued with injuries. Yet while the first thing that comes to most people's minds when they think of training like Bruce Lee are martial arts techniques, little did I know that during the 100 days of training like Bruce Lee, I will learn a valuable lesson about the body instead. It all started when I was watching a video about Bruce Lee's training by The Bioneer, a content creator who explores the science of pushing the limits of human potential. In his video analyzing Bruce Lee's athleticism, he pointed out that one of the main reasons behind Lee's incredible skills, such as the immense generation of power in his famous 1-inch punch, was actually Bruce Lee's core stability. If you don't know what core stability is, or you've heard of it, but you aren't sure what exactly it is, don't worry, I was confused about it at first too. Core muscles are the muscles in your abdomen, back, and hips that work together to support your spine and pelvis, and in transferring power from your upper body to your lower body and vice versa. Now, if you've done martial arts, you probably already picked up on the golden line: transfer of power from your upper body to your lower body and vice versa, an aspect which plays a huge role in generating striking power, as punching power comes not only from the upper body, but it is generated from the foot all the way through the hip area, aka the core, and only then is transferred to the shoulder and finally the fist. Even grappling moves such as takedowns also heavily rely on core power, as most takedowns are a mix of using your legs, hips, and upper body all working together. Yet again, an aspect of using the core. Now, Bruce Lee had an amazingly strong core, as proven by him being able to do such exercises as the 2 or even 1 finger push-ups, while keeping his hand directly beneath his shoulder and leaving the rest of his body perfectly straight and parallel to the ground. A feat that would be impossible without a strong core, as in the opposite case, he would be forced to hold his hand on the side of the shoulder while rotating his body to the side to compensate for a weaker core. Yet you may think that Bruce Lee having a strong core may have been just a coincidence and side effect of Bruce's martial arts training, but it was by far not a coincidence. As it turns out, Bruce was directly obsessed about training his core, at some points of his life performing his ab routine daily, while also stressing the importance of contracting every muscle in your body during training in order to improve the mind-muscle connection and power. The best part of it all, though, is that as it turns out, core training is one of the best ways to prevent injuries by improving your stability, strength, and overall body mechanics. And with all the injuries I had lately, a training program that would not only make me better at martial arts, but also make my body healthier was exactly what I needed. So initially, I decided to try out Bruce Lee's core training exercises for at least 30 days. Yet little did I know that by the end of this journey, I will not only have tried 3 different Bruce Lee inspired training programs, but I will also end up training for 100 days instead. The first question was though, how do I find a Bruce Lee core training program to begin with? I decided to start looking at programs other people have already researched and developed. And the first Bruce Lee inspired training that I found was presented by Athlean-X, a program that included standing elbow twists, frog kicks, single leg raises, seated elbow to knee tucks, full sit-ups, and finally, the Dragon Flag, an exercise that will play a huge role in the later part of this video. But first, I had my first program to tackle. To honor Bruce Lee's training methodology, I decided to do these exercises every single day, no matter what. So even in the hotel during my anniversary trip with my wife, or on the day when I went out to have some drinks with a friend, when I came back home intoxicated, I still did the exercises, hating my life for it. For the first week, I kept the repetitions to the suggested 25 reps, but then on the second week, I decided to push the limits and went for the Athlean-X's recommended next level.
1 eternity later.
Till exhaustion, aka doing the same exercise until you physically can't anymore. A training method that is not enjoyable at all, but offers various benefits. That is because training to failure recruits a higher number of muscle fibers, including both slow twitch, endurance-based, and fast twitch, strength and power-based muscle fibers. And by engaging a broader range of muscle fibers, promotes greater muscle growth and strength gains. Also, since pushing a muscle to failure creates additional micro tears in muscle fibers, as the body repairs them during recovery process, it leads to greater muscle growth as the muscle fibers adapt and become stronger to handle future stress. But after a week of training till exhaustion, having super sore abs and hating my life for it, when reading more about this type of training, I learned that training till failure is a highly controversial method, which may potentially lead to overtraining and even a higher chance of injury. The last thing I wanted while I already had plenty of injuries. Yet then, when doing Athlean-X's Bruce Lee training program, there's one exercise that caught my attention much more than the others, and that was the Dragon Flag, an advanced bodyweight movement that engages the entire core and hip flexors, and one that Bruce Lee was a master of. Since the Dragon Flag is a great exercise to target your core muscles, and it just looks so damn cool. At the same time, while it it may look easy at first, it's actually extremely difficult to do, and during my first attempt, I couldn't lift my straight legs whatsoever. So I decided to shift my attention from doing regular ab exercises and started focusing on pulling off the dragon flag instead, hoping that by being able to do what Bruce Lee does, I will have strengthened my core as a result. I was also naively hoping to be able to do the dragon flag by the end of my 30 days of training. Little did I know that instead, this will be an endeavor that I will devote 100 days into without even knowing if I will succeed at the end. But to begin with, I had to find a training program that could get me started on this journey, as doing a full-on dragon flag from day one was simply impossible. The first dragon flag progression program that I found was a program designed by Thenx, where every day I started doing hip raises, a dragon flag hold, and dragon flag negatives. Yet even though I liked this program, after 2 weeks of training this way daily and reaching day 30, I felt little progress and was not even close to pulling off the dragon flag, making me question two things. One, if maybe training every single day was not the best way to go, as my muscles potentially didn't have enough time to recover and to adapt. And second, if maybe I needed a more step-by-step program for the dragon flag progression. As a result, I decided to extend my training to at least 60 days, having rest days in between, and finding a more detailed progression program to rely on. The program that I eventually landed on next was the program presented by Saturno Movements, and this program I really fell in love with, raising my hopes up, even though I still wasn't sure if by the end of this journey I would be able to pull off the dragon flag. Yet before I introduce to you this program, I wanted to first introduce this video's sponsor. That is a sleep supplement known as Cutscene. Working many hours by the computer, editing my videos till late night, I'm often left too distracted when the time comes to go to bed, regularly spending hours lying around until I finally fall asleep. Although I was skeptical at first, I decided to give Cutscene a try, and the results were awesome. Every time I used Cutscene, I easily fell asleep in a matter of an hour and woke up fresh and rested after a good night's sleep. And the best part is that it's completely natural and non-addictive. Although Cutscene was initially created for gamers, more and more athletes are discovering how it's helping them as well. So if you want to try Cutscene yourself, you can use my code ROCAS to receive a 10% discount, and if it won't work out for you, there's a 30-day guaranteed money-back condition. Speaking from my experience though, I think you will also be really happy with it. So I highly recommend giving it a shot and improving those nights when you need to sleep but just can't. Coming back to the Saturno Movements program, not only did the instructor break down the most common mistakes, which I was doing, such as changing how you grip the bar each time, as a result engaging different muscle groups, instead of always staying with the same grip for constant progression. The program also introduced very clear step-by-step exercises in order to gradually build up towards dragon flag. But the part I liked about the program the most was that it offered a very specific amount of reps that I needed to be able to pull off before progressing to the next step, giving me a clear guideline in what I should achieve instead of wondering when it is time to move on to the next step or jumping to it prematurely. The question now was if I will be able to progress through each step quickly enough. And the first step was to hold the so-called hollow body hold for at least 45 seconds. This exercise really engaged my abs and made them burn. And while initially I was able to hold the hollow body for 40 seconds only, after a few days of training, 45 seconds wasn't a problem anymore, and I was ready to continue to the next phase, which was performing the tuck 15 times. It took me about a week of regular training, but eventually I managed to do 15 tucks and was ready to move on to the advanced tuck. Time did not seem to be on my side though. What at first I was naive to believe I would be able to pull off in 30 days, and then what I was hoping that 60 days would be enough for, after 42 days I was still only at the beginning of the second step of the program out of 6 whole steps. I realized that I will need more time, but I also didn't want to give myself too much time in order not to get lazy. So I decided that this was it. I will go for all or nothing and will try to pull off a full dragon flag on day 100 no matter what. Make or break. During this whole journey, I also kept documenting how my body was changing all the way until the final day, and I will share the final results with you at the end. It took me only 9 days to pull off the advanced tuck, so finally I felt as time was on my side as I was progressing quite quickly. But then, I didn't realize the challenge that was about to come up. It turns out I had a much harder time to pull off the third step of the straddle half lay compared to the first and second step, as at first I was able to do only a few reps of them, and then even after 2 weeks I was barely able to do 10 reps altogether. It's been 2 weeks now that I am stuck at the phase that I'm currently in, and I'm starting to get concerned. I'm seeing very little progress, and I am worried that by day 100 I won't be able to do even a single dragon flag. So I don't know, hopefully it's still gonna work out. But that motivated me to start digging deeper and to look for the main problem to solve. And a problem I did find. As I observed my body, I realized that during the exercise, it was my upper ab area that was struggling the most and gave out the earliest when I was doing the straddle half lay. The upper ab area was also the area I never targeted specifically during my training all these years until now, giving me a clear explanation of why this area of my body failed me. So I decided to target this area specifically and started doing endless exercises to make sure I strengthen it. During this time, I was also doing various other core exercises to make sure my entire core becomes stronger. Finally, after 2 more weeks of constant training, I was able to pull off 15 reps of the straddle half lay and was ready to progress to the next full half lay step. But then, I had only 21 days left until my final test. And to make things worse, I had to leave for a trip to another country where I was going to stay all the way until the 100th day and where I didn't have access to a gym. In order to do the best with the time I had though, I organized myself an ab wheel so I could at least keep targeting my core and upper abs while I was living at the hotel, hoping that by the time I came back to my country, I would be able to skip one of the steps and to pull off at least a single dragon flag on the final day, something that I was not able to achieve whatsoever at the beginning. Then, as day 100 came, it was time for the moment of truth. No matter what was about to happen though, I already learned so much more about my body, how to keep it safer from injury, and how seemingly intelligent Bruce Lee was in his training methodology. But I won't lie, I still wanted to be able to pull off the dragon flag nonetheless. And in the end, not only did I manage to do a single dragon flag, I managed to do 3 of them. And this is how my abs looked at the end of 100 days because Bruce Lee inspired me to train, persevere, and not to give up. If you want to see how I trained like John Wick for 21 days, click on this video right here. And until next time, keep owning your journey.